What's going on, guys? This is the Red Rogue, and today I have a Shadowlands update video for you. If you weren't aware, Ian Hazacostas hosted a stream about the progress on Shadowlands yesterday, so I wanted to talk about most of the noteworthy things he brought up. There was quite a lot of information in the stream, so I figured I'd bring out the big guns first, but sit tight, because there's a lot of good information to glean from this video. If you end up liking it, let me know in the comments below, and maybe join the Shiba Squad if you're feeling extra charming. That'd be pretty cool of you to do, you know. Anyways, here it is. Shadowlands beta is arriving next week, which is the week of July 14th, meaning all of the super OP streamer people who didn't already have a beta key will have one now. Nah, I'm kidding, they were already in the alpha. But yes, beta is finally coming, so we will hopefully see some more invites going out by next week. This is obviously the biggest and most important point of the stream, since more people will finally be able to get their hands on all that juicy new content. The question is though, what is coming with beta? As Ian put it, most of the features are already in place, so what will be included in the first beta build? Well, for one, we'll finally be able to get our hands on some max level testing. This includes things like the Theater of Pain, which is a max level dungeon, and the Maw. The Maw is essentially the Timeless Isle / Mechagon of Shadowlands, as its content was inspired by the same free roam style of gameplay. The tricky part about the Maw is that basically it wants you dead and chopped into little bite-sized Shiba bits, like that one part in Resident Evil. Ew. But yeah, the Maw is the end game zone where we will go to save lost souls for our covenants and acquire relics and items that will help us in Torghast, the Tower of the Damned. From the sounds of it, there is basically only one person in the Maw who is even remotely willing to help us in our endeavors, named Venari. And no, I'm totally not putting her name on screen as I have no clue how to spell it. But yeah, supposedly Venari will help us stay out in the Maw longer, though I'm sure it's through some quest chain or a gated process, as the more disturbances you cause in the Maw, the more likely the jailer is going to be super annoyed at you and you'll have to bail out. As I'm sure he can just insta-gib us from the way Ian talks about him. Oh, and the jailer's basically like the big bad of the expansion if you didn't know that yet. Anyways, before we go any further, I figured I'd show you guys this clip that is a quick snippet of video footage that showcases the super gloomy and doomy zone that is the Maw. So as you can tell, this isn't exactly a romp through the park, and frankly looks pretty freaking awesome in terms of aesthetics. I'll be curious to see exactly how they plan on time gating the Maw, as Ian specifically mentions that the more champions you kill or beehives you kick or whatever, that the jailer will start to notice you, senpai. So I'm hoping this isn't some sort of a sanity bar type system like Horrific Visions or anything like that, as that would kinda be lame, but I doubt that'll be the case, as the intention is for us to explore and discover things, but you never know when it comes to finding ways to time gate a system, that way people don't just binge on it for like a week straight and become super broken OP right at the beginning of the expansion, so who knows. Speaking of super OP, Torghast, Tower of the Damned, will no longer require vessels, keys to participate in Blizzard's new repeatable content for Shadowlands. Originally, to enter Torghast requires keys that you would farm from the Maw, but due to apparently a large amount of feedback and, gasp, people liking a game system Blizzard made, the team decided to not limit the amount of Torghast runs you can do. I know, it's okay, you don't have to sound the alarms or hide in the bunker. It is in fact possible for people to like something Blizzard made. I know, right? Though, I'm sure it won't be everyone's cup of tea, but I guess we'll just have to wait and see how they do it. But yes, supposedly they will be finding a way to balance the reward system so you don't feel compelled to just sit in Torghast for a month straight and never touch your alts, so I'll be very curious how they go about this. Especially since Torghast is where we gather all the reagents to craft our own legendaries. Apparently, gear crafting professions will actually be relevant again because of this, as you will need to have crafted gear to runecraft your custom legendaries. The abilities you can put on your gear are from multiple sources of the game, some being Legion legendaries or old tier sets that are making a comeback. They're also going to include some of the Torghast powers as options for your legendaries, since Torghast's special effects are normally only able to be used inside of the tower and that's it. So it should be pretty interesting to see how broken some of these are going to be. Oh, and as a side note for other max level stuff, they'll also start testing Mythic Plus this month. However, this first round of testing is mainly just to see how busted some of the affixes are with the new scaling/dungeon environments that we'll be experiencing. We'll be seeing the first seasonal affix soon though, and he did specifically mention that they'll be looking at the rest of the system too. So maybe they'll make improvements/get rid of some of the annoying affixes for some new things finally. I mean, we've had the same affixes since Legion, other than Overflowing, which they got rid of almost immediately, basically. So it'd be nice to get rid of Bursting and Sanguine too. Just saying, Blizzard, come on. Nobody likes those affixes, at all. And it gets really boring dealing with the same ones for 4 years straight. I know you guys have a lot of good ideas in there. Anyways, the other big topic of the livestream was Covenants and how their internal game systems will work. Covenants are the 4 factions you will help as you learn your way through the Shadowlands. They consist of the Kyrian, the Necrolords, the Night Fae, and the Venthyr. Each one has their own little shtick, like Venthyr are super brooding, royal vampire-looking people, and the Necrolords are really hardcore death metal fans or something, I don't know. Sanctums are basically really swanky garrisons/order halls for each of the Covenants, and are made up of a bunch of individual internal systems because they heard we like game systems in our game systems in our game systems. In all seriousness though, the Covenants all look pretty cool and are very easy to distinguish apart, though their basic game systems are all pretty similar. For instance, every Covenant will have a transportation system in the zone they control of the Shadowlands, meaning if you're part of that Covenant, you'll have a much easier time traversing your own area in comparison to someone of an opposing Covenant. The Covenants also have their own anima conductors, which... Oh, yeah, right, anima. Anima is basically the new hotness for collectible resources, as basically everyone in the Shadowlands exists because of anima, so the more you collect, the more you'll be able to access of your sanctum. Anima is also one of the things you can collect to increase your renown, which is another new system. Renown basically is what unlocks your progression with your soulbind and your covenant, and is earned from anima collecting and saving souls from the Maw. Oh, yeah, soulbinds. Geez, there are a lot of new systems, and they're all on top of each other. You can basically think of a soulbind as like a talent tree you spec into, as each one is different based on which character of your covenant you bind to. Each soulbind has their own unique abilities, but also includes blank slots for conduits, which are basically things where you can put in customized abilities. These can be changed apparently, so it's not like a one-time deal once you pick a soulbind, which is nice. Not entirely sure if the conduits are reusable once you socket them into the soulbind, but we'll have to wait and see for that, I guess. Anyways, back on track, as I was saying, the anima conductor. It basically lets you focus the anima you've acquired for your covenant to wards scattered around your zone. By powering these wards, you'll unlock the ability to do special things, like fighting champion enemies that will most likely give better rewards than the normal mobs of the zone. Eventually, you'll apparently have enough anima to power all of the wards at once, giving you the most rewards possible for your area. Supposedly, this will also visually change the zone due to the anima actually restoring your area, so it'll have a nice visual effect on your gameplay too. This is a nice tangible effect to see based on your actions, and it's honestly something that has been lacking in most of the expansions over the years, as in terms of role-playing and being a hero of Azeroth or whatever, it's really weird that all the stuff you do very rarely changes the world around you. So yeah, I think that's pretty cool. Lastly, every covenant will have access to a scouting map, aka a mission board or however you want to call it. However, as you can see from this imagery, it definitely doesn't look like anything we're used to seeing. It isn't just a, oh, you have 100 and whatever % chance of getting rewards, good luck, have fun. Blizzard has actually decided to try and make a system where we have more direct control of how well our minions will do on their adventures. While Ian doesn't elaborate too much on it, he does explain that there will be a lot more depth to this version of the mission system, which is definitely a welcome improvement over the boring, basically match 3 style of missions we've seen for every expansion. Oh, and of course it'll be accessible via the companion app once it's live. Because, you know, don't you have phones? Sorry, I couldn't resist. I am looking forward to trying the system out though, as it does look interesting. There are, however, special systems built for each of the Covenant sanctums to help them feel more unique. Each Covenant will have their own internal minigame sort of thing. While it isn't specified in the livestream, I'm sure there'll be interesting Covenant goodies you can unlock by doing them. I'll cover each of them so you have a rough idea of what to expect from each covenant, as they're really trying to make each one distinguishable. The first example he gave is for the Venthyr. Being vampires and dark brooding edgelords, they like to throw cool parties to show off how powerful and rich and influential they are or whatever. So you become a glorified event arranger, basically. You invite guests, set up party arrangements, kick out unruly folks trying to crash the party, and other stuff to try and keep the hoity-toity Venthyr happy. If you do that, supposedly you'll get loot, though Ian isn't very specific on what loot is in this case. I'm sure the exact rewards aren't established yet, but I can imagine it being cosmetics or unique consumables or other nifty items that are exclusive to your covenant and maybe provide some sort of in-combat, like world zone benefits. I don't know. I'm not entirely keen on the concept of a party arranger type deal, though it might offer some humor on the side of a potentially like dark and brooding type environment, so yeah, I'll give it a try, and it probably will have some cool items, so we'll see. Next up is the Kyrian. The Kyrian, being the cool, glowy, blue-eyed angel type people, have the Path of Ascension as their unique event. From the sounds of it, you'll be able to take control of one of your soul binds, which is like your follower type person that you get that talent tree from. But you'll actually play as them through a series of boss fights or encounters or something, by the sounds of it. To me, it sounds more like a Brawlers Guild type thing, but you play as a character that has like 4 or 5 different moves in their toolkit. So, you know, the Havoc Demon Hunter. This one sounds kind of banal, to be honest. Though again, the rewards may end up outweighing the fun factor, which is one of the things I do kind of worry about these unique systems, especially since each one is different for each covenant, which means some of the rewards may inherently be better than others, which will again steer people towards one way or the other, even if it wasn't something they would have liked in the first place. So, I don't know, we'll see. The Necrolords are basically the military powerhouse of the Shadowlands, so of course their special event is a really gross Build-A-Bear type thing. Basically, you'll craft abominations and flesh golem type things for souls that are in need of a certified pre-owned set of legs. And arms. And torso. You get the idea. You can then take this creature on adventures with you, supposedly, and unlock utilitarian buffs such as resource gathering or combat buffs in open world scenarios. Lastly is the Night Fae, our druid-ish covenant of the Shadowlands. Their event, called the Queen's Conservatory, is basically like harvesting soul crops. Literally, you like grow and raise souls out of the ground, since the purpose of Ardenweald, the Night Fae zone, is to bring about the rebirth of souls or something, so like reincarnation, I guess? I don't know. But yeah, not exactly what I would consider the most interesting of the bunch, but it definitely fits the theme very well of nature and rebirth, which is I guess what the Night Fae are all about. There is still even more information that was talked about in this announcement stream, but I tried to cover all the really good stuff so you wouldn't have to watch nearly an hour-long video for it. If you want to though, go right ahead, it's pretty good. I've crossed every phalange on my person in hopes of getting a beta, so I really hope I'll have some brand new, super fresh content to talk about soon, as I've kinda just been covering things as I think of them. And honestly, I just can't wait to get my hands on all the new stuff, much like everyone else here, I'm sure. If you liked this video and stuck around this long, I just wanted to say thank you so much for checking out the channel. It's still pretty new, but it is growing way faster than I could have ever hoped for. And a big shout out to all the members of the Shiba Squad. We are so close to hitting 1,000 I can practically taste it. Or that's my day-old energy drink that I forgot while writing my script yesterday. Ick. I'll have more content for you guys soon. This is the Red Rogue, and I'll see you guys around.